minutes with you, and this time, it's time to approve the minutes. I hope everybody's had a chance to review them.
Mr. Chair, before we approve the minutes, from my understanding, if Mrs. Moore and Mrs. Stedman, if both of them are not here, then that should give Ms. Donna an opportunity to become a voting member
She
for today.
can. She can. We just didn't have, she'll have to sit right there because of she still can vote today.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And she can make motions and all of that as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Our alternates are Mr. Cottle and Ms. Chris, so they can vote in the absence of members.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Take it everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our May meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from May 5th, 2020.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. No. Motion passes. Okay, at this time, we have a request for certificate of appropriateness. I'll turn this over to,
I just have one housekeeping item.
Okay.
We had a promotion within our office. Kenny Talton was our zoning administrator. He has now been promoted to the assistant planning director. The assistant planning director is the one that holds the title of the staff liaison to this board. So I have him here tonight. He's just observing, but will eventually take over my role as the staff liaison for the Historic District Commission. Not going any, I'll introduce him, just not going anywhere. We'll obviously help each other as needed. You guys can always contact me, any questions, but we are slowly transitioning into him reviewing the applications, him presenting to the board, being your point of contact. So this is Kenny Talton.
How you doing?
Kenny's been, if you want to tell him a little bit about yourself, he's been with the city.
Yes, I've been with the city for 15 years, with building inspections, planning, building inspections for about 9, planning for about 6. And so local government for about 23 years.
Very highly respected within our town or city, and he should be able to answer any questions you may have. If you have any concerns, you can reach out to myself as well.
great,
Congratulations.
thank you. Nice to have you on board.
Now, with that said, I will move to your first request for the evening is CA 820 and its rehab development. This covers several properties within one project. It is on the corner of John Street and East Walnut Street. The addresses are known as 100 South John Street, which is this building here, and then you have 200 to 206, which is here on Walnut Street. And again, the property is zoned Central Business District. And just as some background, I do want to, if you recall, I think several of the members were on the board when these properties, we went through the local destination or landmark destination for these properties for the applicant. This is a project that the city has some involvement in, contributed to, in partnering with the applicant and seeing, and the applicant's here. Patrick Riley is here with us tonight, so we'll get him sworn in shortly for him to discuss anything that I do not cover if you have any questions for him. But he can speak to as far as how many units, how the building's going to be used. Just for your information, of course, that doesn't have anything to do with this board. You're just looking at the exterior improvements and ensuring that they meet the guidelines. I just have several pictures just in the forefront before we get to the rehab of the exterior structures. This is just a picture from kind of the corner showing you there's a tree obviously in the way, so I couldn't get a dead-on elevation picture, but this is the front along East Walnut Street, and again 200 to 206. As you can see, a tree, but that's and again this is a view from South John Street, and then this is the rear of that, or this is the 100 South John Street address, or it's the front, but it shows you towards the rear of the property. It faces the courthouse on Ormond Avenue side. And again, this is the back of that 100 South John Street. With regards to the request, there's several items to this. I've just kind of listed them You have in your packets that go through the detail to each elevation, what is being done. But just to summarize, it is removal of brick infill and original arch openings on the west elevation, second floor, which you also have in your packets because it does not show up well on the screen, the elevations in which the architect provided showing the building. You have removal of existing storefront on the west elevation and install new aluminum storefront, installation of new masonry opening and wood windows on the west elevation, installation of new door, new windows and openings on the south elevation. And then finally, you have removal of a rear addition that is not historic to the building at 204 East Walnut Street and is constructing a new courtyard area. Again, you will need to refer to your packets that show the elevations. It's not visible here. But that is the gist of the work. But Patrick is here if you have any questions. I did ask him to attend just to mainly talk to you about the courtyard area. Because I do believe with the architect drawings, it's hard to understand what that is, but he can be able to point to the areas. I'm going to take it back, Patrick, to that rear area. I think that picture may help for them to, but Patrick, I will need to get you sworn in before any statements are made. This does meet the guidelines for our historic district guidelines, but you, again, can ask Patrick any questions regarding the improvements.
Just left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
Patrick, the floor is yours. I can go back to the list if you need me to first, if you want to go through. It's kind of hard to put all of this into one slide, but
I'd rather not try to inundate people with too much information, just other than saying everything, obviously these buildings are now listed as historic landmarks, and in addition to that, we're doing a very comprehensive historic tax credit project here. So everything that we're doing is not only being approved by this board, but has been approved by the North Carolina State Historic Preservation Office and the National Park Service. And then when we're done with all the work, we're going to have to send in applications for a Part 3 that will, where those same entities, the North Carolina SHPO and the NPS, are going to have to approve in order for us to get our. If we weren't going to get the tax credits, we wouldn't be able to make the numbers work to do the project. So we're going to adhere to every historic standard that we are required to for all the reasons that I just stated, including the fact that we want to make sure it looks as classy as possible because we're investing a lot of money. If there's not any questions, maybe I will just jump into the courtyard thing because I think that I can explain this a little bit better. If you just look at this portion, this wall right here, that is a non-historic addition that was put on the back of that building that's addressed 204 Walnut, I guess it's East Walnut. And what we're doing is we're not knocking that over per se. We're just leaving the opening of the doorway in there, or maybe rearranging the opening slightly so it's a protected courtyard space. And our tenants are going to be accessing the apartments that are accessed in those locations with doors that are being cut in, and that is shown very well on the plans. But nothing about that other than the appearance in the fact that it's going to look nicer is going to be changed. We're just going to take the roof off and allow open air access for people to walk into their apartments. That's essentially it, and we'll probably.
So that's this door here, right?
No, this one.
That one, got it.
Yeah, this right here is remaining the same.
Okay, so it's
The
this one.
courtyard area is this. It's that one bump out that was a non-historic addition to that building. So we're not disturbing anything about the historic space. If those are where we're going to be filling in certain openings, et cetera, that are called out on the plans. But basically that area that I pointed to is the courtyard. The Park Service is not overly sensitive to it, nor were the SHPO, because it's on the rear of a building and it wasn't historic anyway. So they have not given us any conditions to that other than they're aware of what we're planning to do and they've approved it. But every historical component of any of these buildings is going to be, strictly adhered to.
Just out of curiosity, when was that part added on, that addition?
on the back?
The one
The
that
non-historic
we
section.
think it was probably sometime in the 50s or 60s, based off the block. That's the best guess we have.
This last little setting here, is this that building? I mean, I'm sorry. This is it right here.
What page is that, Ms.
The
Pierce?
very last of their site information. Is it the one with the lion story?
I'm sorry. Courtyard.
So, no, if you're looking, you see where the balconies are?
I do.
Okay, that balcony is essentially, you're in what we're calling the courtyard.
So here?
I'll walk over just to make sure I see what you're trying to show.
This is the courtyard?
Yes, ma'am. Imagine if this right here had a wall extending out. That's that wall that you're looking at, that's yellow. And what we're doing is we're leaving most of the wall there, taking the roof off so that we can have open air access. And these balconies are getting built right into that courtyard.
Oh, so you're gonna build these
Yes, ma'am.
here?
Yes, ma'am.
So they're gonna be apartments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Patrick, the balconies they're looking, basically, that's on an interior wall. So you're walking through and you look to your right or left and you see a balcony.
And this, right here, you're gonna, assuming that's the space we need, which I'm not exactly sure that's what they have drawn, but when you look to your right, there's gonna be two balconies that'll be built in there.
Right. And you're walking through it.
You're walking through that door, and when you get into what we're calling the courtyard, you look to your right and you see what's drawn in those plans, those two balconies.
So that elevation is not technically what is visible from Ormond Avenue. It's from the inside of the courtyard.
Yeah, you won't really see
Because what you're seeing from this elevation will look, sorry, I went too far. I'm just trying to see if I can get them to understand. Is mainly you'll see this with the door, it's just gonna
Yes,
be the
right.
door.
So
you'll-
that's what
you'll
I was,
see
that's what I was
you
gonna
see.
say. We're
Those
still gonna
balconies are
see
to the-
that. It's
Yeah.
just the
Imagine
people
it-
that's living there are gonna see the balcony
Yes, ma'am.
and the
Correct.
nice stuff you're doing inside.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you gonna do with that? Nothing?
You'll
With
just-
the wall?
Yeah, well,
So they're
with
wanting
the-
to know kind of what, if any,
Like,
are
what are
there
you
any
gonna do with
improvements
the-
here or here?
No.
like, not that building, but the little,
Right
like,
here.
like you said,
I mean,
gonna be
if-
the courtyard. You're gonna do nothing, it's just gonna be ugly?
We'll probably paint it a color that would be more attractive than
Oh,
that.
okay. Cause
We're
I
not-
say, it sounds like this is gonna be cute, but then I was like, but then there's just that little ugly wall.
Yeah, we'll probably paint it like a nicer neutral color, and we've done this at other projects before. It's almost like less is more. Once we've improved things, and then we just spruce it up a little bit, but we're not trying to really draw attention to it, because we're just kind of trying to let it just fade.
I got
Fade
you,
away.
but it's gonna be the courtyard that the people, the residents are gonna be able to go through to have some form of shelter. I got it.
Yeah, on the other side of the
like-
wall you're looking at,
sounds
the
like
other
something-
side of the wall is gonna be more spruced up than this side we're looking at here.
It sounds like it's gonna be nice.
And these are the openings, I believe, Patrick, that you're putting back in. It's the infill that's being
Yeah.
removed and windows going back or doors.
Yes.
And then as originally the buildings had, and then same for the storefronts will be replaced here. I believe the aluminum, when it referenced the storefront that's being replaced, was it the middle building?
Yeah, I think that one's getting a replaced storefront. I
Yeah.
think this one's gonna be left
Left
as is.
alone.
There's not as much work
Work
required
there.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, the north and the west elevation pictures, they look nice and very historic. Good job.
Jennifer, that picture where we had the wall, that's taken from Ormond or John? I'm kind of turned around. No,
Nice
Ormond.
job.
Which one?
keep going. Keep going. There.
I'm at Ormond, looking towards John Street.
Courthouse, I think.
Like from the
Courthouse is behind me.
The
Okay.
courthouse.
It's that
Now,
little
is the-
short
Is the brick
street
building on the right part of this project or just the
right
driveway?
here.
Uh-huh.
This?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so it's literally
So
everything.
you see this rear building right here?
Uh-huh.
That's your 206, 204, 202, and then to the corner. Then you come down, and then that's your 100, and it comes back like this, and then this
Okay,
is, does
now I'm with you. Okay.
that make sense?
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant on this request? Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to have the request that will meet the guidelines for property improvements?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion on this? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. At this point in time, I need a motion based upon your,
I make a motion to issue the certificate of appropriateness.
okay, for CA 820. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on issuing this particular property a certificate of appropriateness? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Patrick. Okay.
And the
Jennifer?
next property we'll move to is also rehab development. I believe we're all very familiar with this property. This is the Wayne National Bank building here in downtown. The property address is known as 135 and 139 West Walnut Street, and also zoned Central Business District. Again, the applicant is requesting to rehab existing structures. This is the Wayne National Bank building, obviously has a tower, I believe 10 floors. And then this is the 135, and this is the 139. Again, as the previous request, just going to show you a series of existing photos, and then we'll move into the items that are being rehabbed. It's kind of hard to capture the tower, because obviously it's very tall, so this is looking towards James Street on Walnut, and you see the tower here, and one of they're obviously having replacement windows on the 9th and 10th floors. This is a side elevation on James Street, looking towards Walnut of the existing building. The applicant is requesting to reopen the infill and the arches and opening the windows back up.
There's 8 of them, I believe. We're talking about opening the middle 4.
The middle 4, correct.
The 2 on the
Will
outside
remain.
and the sides.
This is the rear of the building. There is an alley here that takes you to the back of these buildings at front, Walnut Street, as well as a couple of the buildings at front, James Street. And now to get into a little bit of the request, I wanted to throw this in there. Prior to doing this presentation, I was under the understanding that it was a possibility of removing. This is at the rear, and no one really sees this from any street elevation. It's an existing, what used to be utility room. Not sure what was all in there at one time or is in there. But in order to address power issues with the building and the rehab of the units, needs to be removed in order to locate a power transformer for the building. It was a possibility. We wanted to include it as part of the C of A in the event that it was needed to actually be removed and place the power transformer there. And the applicant did confirm today that it does need to be removed and for the placement of a power transformer. And the rest of the request, again, you have the letter from the architect that really specifies it in detail, and you have the elevations in your packet. But he is requesting, or the applicant is requesting, installation of new windows on the 9th and 10th floors, installation of venting for exhaust at bathroom locations, but the cap will match the brick in the stone facades, removal of block infill and original arch openings that we just spoke of on the west elevation, and install new wood windows, removal and relocation of existing double doors on the south elevation, and then installation of new wood windows and openings on the north elevation. And again, I will have to refer you to it just doesn't show up that well in a PowerPoint. And that is it. And again, Patrick is here if you have any details. This one, to me, is very straightforward, with the exception of maybe if you have any questions regarding the power transformer, he will have to speak to that. But again, it's same standards, locally landmarked, meeting the Part 1, Part 2, historic tax credit project, kind of the same thing. So I can let him speak in reference to this project.
I think you covered it. We're not doing anything earth-shattering to any of the facades or elevations on this one, other than just kind of sprucing up what's a beautiful building and trying to put it back into service, looking as close to like it once did as possible. I will say that you see those like slit windows there in the annex building? We're gonna replace those, as your drawing should show, as something more
Standard window.
standard to what's appropriate in the downtown area now.
And your packet includes those window details as well.
Yep.
But those windows are gonna be either aluminum CAD or wood, is what I read, correct?
Wood windows is what
I
I was
read that the windows that you're gonna replace are
here.
gonna be either aluminum CAD or they're gonna be wood.
Yes, ma'am.
Wood window.
No vinyl, correct?
No.
Because, you know, that's been
No, ma'am.
that's
We'd never
been the
use vinyl.
issue on this board, is these vinyl windows, which, and I'm not picking on you guys, when I ride by, I'm not no expert, but it looks like we got some vinyl windows in the historic district to me, but I didn't get out of my car and go knock on them. But,
No, those aren't approved by the Park Service on
Yeah, they
historic
wouldn't
tax
get their
credit
tax
projects.
credits
Yeah.
if not.
And then with regard to the storefront, I'll just point this out. What the plan is just to basically switch this door from where it is over here and switch this storefront over there. Our tenant will occupy this space from over here, and then our residential tenants will use this door. That's a pretty minor detail, but just for a flow standpoint, might make sense to hear it. And then there's very, very little cosmetic changes to this building whatsoever.
okay.
These will be apartments?
Yes, sir.
How many? Estimated?
There'll be 44. It's not, I hope it's not estimated. We're getting ready to start them, but there's a total of 42 that are going to go into the Wayne Tower, and then there's 2 that are going in the front and back of the annex.
Okay. And I failed to ask you on the other property, how many apartments?
There'll be a total of 19 units. Most of those will be apartments. We have some of them that are going to be set up initially as what we can call furnish extended stays that we'll try to rent to Air Force personnel that are interested in staying closer to the base and in downtown that would rather have the ability to walk around while they're in town. And then we can adjust that number to whatever we ultimately feel the demand dictates, but there's a total of 19 units there. So there's a total of 63 residential units in this project and approximately 10,900 square feet of commercial space.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because you mentioned that the reason you were doing the opposite door is you were gonna have, I'm assuming you're gonna have a business on that bottom level over here, and then the people renting going up on the other
Exactly.
end. I heard that,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
This might be a question more for the planning board, but what does the city plan on doing for parking for 63 new families?
I can answer part of that.
Yes, sir.
We're also buying the parking lot that's on
The Greenway there?
James Street. Yeah, for there. I think the address is 119 North James Street. There's 88 spots there, and then with
So
the
it's not that, it's,
no, it's if you were
Is that where the old teller room used to be?
Patrick, I'll go back to the aerial. It might be on the aerial. Whoop, I went the wrong way. I have not figured this thing out yet. Can you see it from the aerial?
Yeah.
There's your,
Is that part of First Citizens?
It's up there.
Parking lot?
it's up here.
there. We're in the process of buying that right now.
So it's on the corner of Mulberry and James,
Where the station?
where the old,
okay?
There's nothing
What's
there.
there
there's
now, right
nothing
now?
there,
Nothing.
ma'am?
What's there right now, the property he's saying he's gonna get to make the parking space?
There's nothing there.
It was a parking lot.
It
It's
was-
just been
yeah,
abandoned.
It's vacant.
The city owns it, and we did an upset bid with them. No one upset our bid, so they've accepted it.
But when you say there's nothing there, there's actually sometimes cars there, correct?
I've never seen a car there.
Okay, then I don't know where you guys are talking about at.
University lights, I believe.
So this is James Street, James and Mulberry. You've got the church on the corner. You have Willie's Radiator on this corner, and it's a vacant parcel here.
That was a parking lot. We're just gonna resurface part of it, and our tenants will be able to
I
use
think
it.
a bank at one time may have been there, because isn't there like a, you probably see the only structure that's on it's like a canopy where it was probably the drive-through, you know, like the
Yeah, there was a drive-through in
drive-through
James.
there on
It
the.
actually,
I don't think
It may be
I must be
gone.
blind, because I didn't see that when I was walking out there last week.
I mean, it could be gone by
not there
now, but
anymore.
I'm just thinking of that's what I normally would see when,
Located right there at George Street? Is
Not
Street
George.
facing this, and Mulberry?
so if you were coming from George and took a left on the Mulberry coming into town, or you know, going to Center Street, it would be on your right when you approach, James and Mulberry.
The property's on the George side of James, not on the center side of James.
It's on the,
Right.
yeah,
So you're gonna
well,
cross the street to get to your apartments, if I make sure, because I know
Yes.
there's land behind the Center Street buildings near
Yeah,
your
and
property.
that's a parking
That's
lot.
nothing there.
well, that's this, and that's, Ernie Mansour's property, no, and that, and I mean, people park back there, but it's not a public
Okay.
parking lot.
Okay,
So it's across the street from that.
okay.
can we work from there was a station, unless I'm completely off, an old gas station on the corner of James and Mulberry.
That's the property.
Is the station still there? I thought the building
I
was
think
there.
it's gone, isn't it? It's
There's
all
nothing on the
vacant.
property.
It's all
Or is
vacant.
it the lot, there was a station here, and is it back here in that open lot that's grassed in there?
There was a gas station catty corner from St. Stephen's,
I'd have to
from the
go
front
get a
door of St.
recent
Stephen's,
aerial.
catty corner.
Yeah, there was, yeah, but I don't know if it's still there or not.
If it is.
But I think the city owns that though, right? I don't
Piece of land
know.
that I'm buying from the city.
City,
I have no
yeah.
knowledge
Okay.
of what it was
Was
before.
before,
or
I don't either.
was anything.
All right,
But regardless, if it works through, that will be where parking is. And then with regards to, this is, as far as our ordinances are concerned, it's within an area that's bounded, that the city council amended the ordinance where
Okay.
parking is on-street parking.
so I take it the people at the other property would just park on the street, or in that, where you're doing the courtyard, I guess, from that picture Jennifer showed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of county parking that's not utilized in the evenings, and families would probably be a misnomer what's staying there, because the units are gonna be fairly small, so you probably have a two-person occupancy at the most anyway.
900 square feet, maybe?
At the most.
Okay.
The largest ones would be like, that would be one of the larger ones.
Okay.
Most of them are gonna be, and some of them are micro units, like almost like hotel
Oh,
units.
okay.
So, like, I've walked around there enough, and the bank looked at this, everybody looked at it. We're not overly concerned with the parking. If it becomes a problem, that means that downtown Goldsboro is on its way to being the next Manhattan.
Sure, I understand, okay,
We'd love that.
I would too. We
Sure.
could use-
okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Patrick at this point in time concerning the old Bank of Wayne and also at one time Wachovia Bank Building? At least when I lived here
Yes.
in high school. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to, if not, is there a motion to request the guidelines for property improvements?
I'll make that move.
Okay, Terry, is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the guidelines for property improvements on CA-9-20. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All in favor, no. Motion passes. Is there a, with that said, is there a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness to this particular property?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, my dear, is there a second?
I'll make a second.
All right, is there any discussion on issuing a certificate of appropriateness for the old Bank of Wayne property, CA-9-20? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, no. The motion passes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for this community. Okay. Is there any other business for this board to take up this particular time? that needs to be made?
The only thing I have is I am in the process of working with the state office with regards to another property that is requesting local landmark destination. So once that's ready to come before you all, we'll bring that to you. I have to send it off to the state first to get comments about it, and then it'll come back to us for our recommendation and approval. Once it's approved by this board, it then goes to city council for the public hearing and approval process. And at that point, we would send all that information back to the state, and it's considered locally landmarked. And that is the Borden Manufacturing. It's outside of the Historic District Commission, our historic boundary. But any property within Goldsboro, if it seeks a local landmark destination, it comes to this board first for a recommendation, then to city council for approval. So, it will be treated a little differently than what was inside of ours, but still has to go through the same process with the state.
That's for the old board manufacturing plant?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right there on William and
Royal.
Royal Avenue.
Okay. Go by twice a day.
And again, that project is, they're looking to rehab it for residential units as well.
Okay, great. Would you suspect we would be looking at that for next month, or it would be farther on down the road?
The schedule is all on the state on when they get comments back to me. And as far as that I have time to advertise the meeting and all of that stuff. So I'll keep you posted on that. But
Sure.
at this time, I do not have any other requests in the office
Okay.
that would seek your approval.
Any other business for the board that would like to bring up at this time? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service.
And